Oh, yes, we need to make sure we take care of the strep because it can go to her brain and all of this. If my tonsils were out, my daughter would have never been exposed. And now she's trying to be the hero. Oh, I have another story time today. And it is actually about that same daughter that I did a video on a couple of weeks ago, how she was almost taken out by taking on narcissistic traits and then she stopped. Well, this was when this same child was a baby, and I'll tie it into how scapegoating messes up your life. When this particular daughter was young, when she was a baby, about 6 months old, she was learning to walk. And I remember it was right around the time she was quote unquote dedicated, right? We had some people over, and it was actually my oldest daughter's godmother and her godfather, and they had left, and I remember she was holding onto the sofa and somehow she fell and bumped her head, and I was like, okay, let's keep an eye on it and all of that, right? Well, I kept an eye on it and nothing seemed to be happening, so I was okay. And a couple days later, I'm looking at her head and she has this bump at the back of her neck. I was like, this doesn't look very good, and it felt kind of firm. So I made an appointment to see the doctor, and she said she could come in and take a look at it. I had a female doctor, and she said, come in and I'll take a look at it, because I explained to her that she fell, but now there's a bump. And I was able to get in to see her, I think the next day. Yeah. So the appointment was like late morning. No, it was like early afternoon. She looked at no, it was morning, because she was able to get an appointment with another doctor in the afternoon. So she looked at it and called a specialist and said, I think you need to take a look at this. You know, it doesn't look right. So I went downtown to the specialist, and the specialist took a look at her thing at the back of her neck and said, he called me by name. He said, what we need you to do is go across the street to the hospital. I'm getting everything ready. This is not something to fool around with. She has an abscess. It needs to have surgery. I was like, what? He says, yes, tomorrow morning, first thing, we have to take this abscess out. And this is not something to fool around with. This is serious. Needless to say, I was beside myself, because at that point in time, it was just around rush hour. And I don't know why. It might have been, it was right around break for the kids. So I ended up having my youngest, her elder sister with me. And she was at the sitter. I'm remembering things now as they were going, because we had a good sitter she was Bible based. So she was able to keep her until my then husband came home. Thankfully, I wasn't in a daycare. I had a private sitter. Now, I'm at the hospital getting set up and all of that stuff, and I call my mother in a panic. I was not awake at the time. I was still trying to grasp at any kind of relationship that I could have with this person, right? I'm saying person because I now know that she's given herself over to the spirit of Jezebel. But I was aiming to have a relationship with her because I wanted my kids to at least have a relationship with her. I now know that was a bad move. So I told her what was going on. They said that they had to take out, do surgery because she had become a nurse and all of that. Her father was on his way home, and this was all in time before cell phones because we had to call physical people and all that stuff. So he was on his way home because he got off work at 3:30 or something like that. So we had some challenges to get everybody together. Either way, I'm there now waiting for him to come and see what was going on. This time he did come. He was still kind of sane at that time. And the doctor explained that she had an abscess because of strep. It was an abscess due to strep. Now, I constantly got strep throat. This is how it ties back into the scapegoating. When I was younger, I had bouts of tonsillectomy every year, several times a year. And this was back in Toronto when you had the health insurance was even a piece of paper. And I used to go to the hospital for sick children so often that they just had a file on me. And my doctor would constantly say to my mother, she needs to get her tonsils out. She needs to get her tonsils out. And my mother refused to let me get my tonsils out. So every year I suffered. All through high school I had sinusitis. I suffered. And this is quite remarkable that I even got into choirs with my voice because I suffered. So now I look back and I realize that she didn't want to lose the work that I would do, number one. And number two, she didn't mind me suffering because she knew back then, because I now know the little things that would come up that showed me that she was checking to see how much spiritual juice I had. And I will talk about those in other videos. But she knew that there was something different about me. And she refused to let me get my tonsils out. And I know it was specifically me because my sister she wanted specific surgery, and it was cosmetic, and it would have to come out of pocket. And my mother paid for that surgery. She paid for that surgery for my sister. My brother wanted to go to private school. That would have to come out of pocket. She paid for my brother to go to private school, but for tonsillectomy surgery, that was not even, it was free. It was free. She wouldn't pay for it. So I suffered all through high school, it hardly happened more. It didn't happen as much when I left the home, but I still had it every now and again. Strep and the tonsillectomy and all of that. So my baby had her surgery. And as soon as she was well and I went to the doctor to do a checkup and all of that, she was like, your tonsils are coming out. She's like, this was caused from your strep. Your baby caught your strep and she couldn't fight it. So she had the abscess. Within months, because my iron had to get boosted, so it was a little longer than normal. Within months, I had the thing happened in April. By September, I had my tonsillectomy. My doctor wasn't fooling around. She's like, it's a little bit more challenging when you get older. And that was what my pediatrician kept saying to my mother. It's more challenging when they get older. It's more challenging when you get older. It's more challenging when you get older. She didn't care. She didn't care. So I know that it was done intentionally. They will do things to sabotage your health care. So I thought, let me look up and see what it says online about this. And sure enough, this is one of the things. And I'm going to talk more about another thing that happened, and I'm now paying for it as I age because of deprivation again. So, healthcare deprivation. Glynis Sherwood says, they may invalidate your illness, withhold necessary medical treatment, especially if the narcissist is a controlling parent, right? And mock genuine physical and psychological pain to make you feel helpless. So I'm here, 12 years old, 14 years old, 18, under their care, and not being able to get the proper treatment that I needed so that I could live a life without pain. And it was just getting the tonsils out. So I would feel guilty for being sick, even though I don't even know, nobody else in my family had tonsil problems. I was the only one that had it out. And it's, again, I know now it's because my voice was suppressed. My voice was pushed down. My daughter, I never had strep throat since. After I had my tonsils out, never had strep throat, never had sore throats, never had any problems with my tonsils. So when you look back on these sort of things, you try not to get angry because of the amount of pain that you went through. You try not to get angry because of the amount of pain that you went through unnecessarily. And this almost caused my daughter's death. And the same mother, guess what she had to say? Oh, yes, we need to make sure we take care of the strep because it can go to her brain and all of this. If my tonsils were out, my daughter would have never been exposed. And now she's trying to be the hero. Being the hero in this saga that didn't need to happen. They will withhold medical treatment because they don't care if you suffer. And people wonder why you want to go no contact. As I've been healing more and more, the Most High is downloading more things into my psyche and showing me literally incidences and then showing me the significance of each incident. They will withhold your medical treatment because they are that wicked. So when people tell you the stuff they've gone through in their toxic family dynamic, they're not making it up. And this time it almost affected my child because of something that I was made to think was normal as part of my everyday, to be having sore throats and needing strep medicine and all of that. Never have had strep since. and all through from like 11 years old until 20 something when I had my tonsils out, I suffered because someone thought I didn't deserve medical treatment. So this is Sambuka, aka Mama Sam. I am here to voice that being a scapegoat is real. It's real, and people have gone through some crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. So when they say, believe them, believe them. Check the description box for any aids that you may be looking for to help you along your journey of being a scapegoat. This is Sambuka, sending you acres of love. Salembe.